relate so much to that. Now, how intensive would you say the program is for these guys? Is it constantly going on? Like everything throughout their day is a part of getting trained?
So an important part of their training is remaining consistent. You want to make sure that the dog never is never doing anything that's going to be something that he'll be rewarded for when he shouldn't be. So a lot of those things can be if he gets into like the trash and he gets to chew up the trash. Not he doesn't do that, no. But if he did.
That's where Dino and I differ.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. So he if he were to do something like that and then he got to like chew up something and he was like, oh, I loved that. Then he's getting a reward from something that I should have been watching him for. So it's about consistency, making sure that they're constantly doing what they need to be doing. That's why I'm continuously giving kibble through this interview to make sure that he remains in his sit.
So it seems like everything is sort of a teachable moment for these
Exactly,
two.
yeah. So that's kind of one of the things they talk about in training. We're required to go to 2 training classes a month. So one of the things that they touch on is you need to always remember that whatever you're not training them, they're learning something else. So if you're not directly training them, they're indirectly learning a bad habit.
Okay.
So it's pretty much that, and then the 30 commands that you have to train them with, and then they go into advanced training and learn the fancier things like pulling wheelchairs, opening doors, etc.
It sounds like it's intensive for them, but also for you guys. It seems like you always have to be on as well.
Yes.
So before we wrap things up here, where can people find information about STEP online? So
we're on Facebook at STEP UCF, and we're also on Instagram, STEP_UCF, and that's pretty much our primary use of communication with the public. We also have meetings.
And so much more.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Hitting the Field. There's only a couple weeks left in the spring semester here at UCF, and Hitting the Field is down to 3 episodes of the 6th season, not including a special NFL draft episode that we have in the works. We'll be getting our seniors on the next couple of weeks in order to send them off with as many HTF memories as possible. One of those seniors joins me now, as I am pleased to welcome on Jimmy Calhoun. Yes. Welcome, buddy. And his opponent, Jeremy Brenner.
Just because Jimmy's a senior doesn't mean I'm not going to go easy on him.
Welcome, guys. Let's get right into our normal business. UCF football held its pro day last week with 13 senior Knights looking to pursue their dreams in the NFL. They got to perform in front of 31 of the 32 NFL teams. Which Knights are you guys most excited to see at the next level? And who do you think might be a steal for some NFL teams on draft weekend? Jeremy, why don't you kick us off?
You know, you get pride for a lot of your alumni that play in the NFL, but if I had to choose one of the new class, I'd say Traquan Smith. I think Traquan is going to be a steal for the draft because he's not being projected in the high rounds, probably going to be a day 3 pick, but he's also someone that can be very versatile. He can play all 3 receiver spots. He can play in the slot. You can put him outside either or. He's very versatile, and that's what you want in a receiver at the next level.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I had Traquan Smith too, but I also have another name. Traquan Smith has good size, athleticism. I think he's going to be a steal and a contributor for a team. I have Jordan Akins, a tight end who has good athleticism, good size. I was at Pro Day. I saw him run his routes, catch the ball. He had no issues doing anything the NFL coaches asked him. I think he'll be a steal and a contributor for an NFL team.
I like that pick too because there's not a ton of depth at tight end at the moment.
You could never have too many tight ends.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially pass catching tight ends.
Absolutely. From the gridiron to the baseball diamond, the UCF baseball team ranked in the top 25 last week and sat at number 21 in the USA Today coaches poll. The Knights sit at 21-9 on the season, a nice .69 winning percentage. Depending on the night, it seems like our Knights have the talent in all aspects of the game to compete with anyone in the country. Do you think they can continue this success and make a deep postseason run? Jimmy?
I think they do. They have wins over number 15 Virginia, number 18 Eastern Carolina. They swept number 1 Florida. I mean, they play up to their competition. And, you know, with the baseball, they have so many games during the regular season. It's okay for the team to take a few days off, and they have some bad losses. But I feel like once postseason time comes around, they'll play up to their competition. And like you said, they don't have a weakness. They can hit, they defend, and they pitch. So I think they'll be perfect for postseason.
I don't want to see them take any days off, but I guess I get it in that grind.
Yeah, that grind. Playing every day,
season.
yeah.
I know how that goes.
They've
Jeremy?
certainly got the wins to prove it. They have the experience as well, the reigning AAC champions from last year. And David Sampson, former Marlins team president, said something, and I want to bring it up right now. You can't lose you can't win the pennant in April, but you can certainly lose it. And I feel like that has a lot of play in any sport that you have. So like I can beat Jimmy right now, but if I don't win the joust, I can't win the whole game.
Yeah.
So you got to take it one step at a time. Now, it's very early in the season still. We still have, we still have several weeks of conference play left, and then you got super regionals, College World Series.
There's tons of baseball left.
It's not necessarily the best team that wins, it's the hottest team. So it's too early for me to tell. However, they haven't lost the pennant yet.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And they're in position to compete with the best teams. I mean, we've seen them do it against the best teams, and like I said, I mean, their whole lineup is power. They can defend, and they have great pitchers in bullpen and starting.
And when you pick up a couple of those big wins throughout the season at any point, it gives you a little confidence, especially heading into the Super Regionals.
Absolutely.
And then, like you said, all you need is a little bit of, hot bats, and you're good to go. Well, that's all the time we have today for a little UCF Night sports talk. But after the break, Jimmy and Jeremy will be battling it out over some NBA topics, so stay with us.
Do you like sports? Do you like reading about sports? Then we got a sports blog just for you. Stay on my peripherals. That's not fun. Hitting the field.
The first student-run sports blog.
For sports fans.
By sports fans.
See, it's all about the product shot.
Where do you want me to stand?
Don't talk though, I want them to see the whole.
Hitting the field. We cover football. We cover basketball. And so much more.
He's out! By sports reporters. And Meech.
What up? Watch the show and read the sports blog. Hitting
the field!
Welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us here on Hitting the Field. Jimmy Calhoun and Jeremy Brenner are still up here with me as we embark on a little NBA debate. All right, guys, we'll start with a topic it feels like we may be discussing for years to come. LeBron James is playing at a level unheard of for someone his age. In his 15th season in the association, LeBron is averaging 28 points and just under 9 rebounds and 9 assists per game. The month of March alone, LeBron is averaging 31 points to go along with nearly 10 rebounds and assists per game. Guys, is LeBron James a human being? Like, what is the most impressive thing about the season he is putting together in your mind? Jimmy, we'll start with you.
It's kind of hard believing he's a human being, to be honest. What he's doing at this age and just how it doesn't seem like it's going to stop. And anytime you're in a conversation with one of the to be one of the greatest athletes ever means you almost defy being a human. The most impressive thing he's doing this year is he's guided the Cavs to maybe, you could say being the 3rd seed in the East is kind of a disappointment. But if you look at the parts around him, he had Jose Calderon at point guard.
Yep.
And he's the 3rd seed in the East and probably going to his 8th straight NBA Finals. Just think about that.
It's insane.
In a league full of point guard talent and probably the most point guard talent we've ever seen, Jose Calderon at the point guard for Cleveland Cavaliers.
And not just him, but the turnover rate.
Yeah.
Jeremy, we'll get to you.
The Constitution says that all men are created equal. That's false. I am not equal to LeBron James. That
don't
man
think any of
is
us are.
a superhuman.
Yeah.
And simply what he's doing this year that's different from all the other years, he's averaging 9 assists per game. He's never done that in his career. And that's something he's changing his game. He's molding his game. I think there are players like LeBron. When he came into the NBA, he was like the biggest talent that we had ever seen. And players have come into the league and people are saying, oh, well, this person may be a little more physically gifted. I can think of Anthony Davis,
Sure. I mean, 7-footers, yeah.
Giannis. Those guys are more physically gifted than LeBron. But I think what sets LeBron apart from all those guys is his basketball IQ.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that he is taking his game 1 year at a time, 1 step at a time, and he is transforming his game to where he can still contribute like this in year 15.
I couldn't agree more.
I feel like it's that, but then you also name those freakish athletes in the NBA, and he's either bigger than them, he's faster than them. It just, he always has something over, and it's more than basketball IQ. It's athleticism. It's incredible.
Yeah, and what's really impressive to me is he hasn't changed his game to just a jump shot game. He's still taking it to the rack and putting people on posters.
Yeah, and still faster than the 25-year-olds, 22-year-olds.
He's taking really good care of his body. He's played every game this year.
He's on that Ray Allen
He's never
diet.
played 82 games in a season. He could do that this year with the Cavs still jockeying for playoff position.
Did you guys see that ridiculous stat? I think he spends $1.5 million a year on his body to maintain his body.
He's got the money to do it. I don't know.
I guess I would too. Moving from one player who has been incredibly healthy during his career to a player who seemed like he was putting his off-injured past in the rear view. Joel Embiid fractured his orbital bone and will likely take 2 to 4 weeks to heal completely. The Sixers are currently sitting in 4th in the Eastern Conference and are looking to take on their first postseason run since the 2011-2012 season. What do you think the impact of this injury could be for the playoff-bound Sixers? Jeremy, get us rolling.
The Sixers are the hottest team in the NBA right now. They've won,
Wow.
I believe, 11 games in a row now. With the Rockets losing yesterday, they have the longest win streak in the league right now. And they have the easiest schedule left in the regular season. They've already clinched their playoff spot. They don't need to do anything else left in the regular season. Come playoff time, though, it's going to be a little different. I think that the Sixers are obviously clearly better off with him on the floor than they are without him. Amir Johnson would probably take his minutes, and they're gonna.
It's not something they
Brett
want.
Brown is gonna get creative
not
with
something they
his.
want.
He's gonna get creative with his rotations because they have so many different guys at depth. You can put Ilyasova.
You can only get so creative, but to make up for, I mean, Joel Embiid is their best, maybe second best player behind Ben Simmons. They're gonna miss him.
No, they're going to miss him, and I don't think it matters too much for the regular season, but when playoffs come around, I think it's pretty much set, almost set, that they're going to play the Indiana Pacers in the first round. I think Joel Embiid's injury means if they have him, they'll beat Indiana. If they don't have him, they'll lose to Indiana. It's just that simple.
You got to pair him up with Miles Turner.
You don't replace the 7-footer that has 23 points per game, 11 rebounds, and only 30 minutes.
I agree. And who wants to go into the postseason with an injury?
No,
that's not fun.
No.
Time for a couple of predictions, fellas. The bottom of the Western Conference is a mosh pit with only 6 games holding the balance between 3 through 10 seeds. As it sits now, Meech's beloved Nuggets are right outside the playoffs, with the Pelicans and Jazz sitting at 1 game ahead in the standings. With only 6 games left in the regular season, how do you see the bottom of the West shaking out? Jimmy, start with
I got Minnesota at 6, I got Utah at 7, and then I got New Orleans at 8. I think Minnesota has too much firepower, and Jimmy Butler's only going to come back to make that team better. I think they I think they go to 6. Utah, Donovan Mitchell just keeps proving me wrong. I didn't like this Utah team to begin the year, but they just keep winning.
Yeah.
And they keep winning in the West. So I think that'll keep trending with only 2 weeks left in the regular season. So I see them staying at 7. And I think Anthony Davis, the player that he's mounted to be probably a top 5 player in the NBA, will guide the Pelicans to the 8th seed without DeMarcus Cousins.
Still the brow.
Still the brow.
The Wolves took a bad loss last night to Utah. They weren't in the game at all. And there's 2 big games at the end of the season. Denver and Minnesota play each other twice in the last week. And I think whoever comes out on top in those games is going to be who is the 8th seed. San Antonio looked really good yesterday. It's hard for me to knock them out.
Since we're making predictions, I want you to pick. Are you rolling with the Nuggets or the Jazz?
I'm gonna roll with the Jazz. I'm gonna put them in. I'm gonna put the Nuggets in. I'm gonna have Minnesota sitting out. I don't think that they have the depth and I don't think that they are playing as well at the right time right now. Denver is a team that, last night they proved that they can win.
That's a hot take. I don't know if Denver can do it. I hope for Meech's sake they do.
I know Minnesota has a lot more talent than Denver.
We're going to move on. The bottom of the Eastern Conference is pretty tight as well, but it's much more clear as to which teams will be making the playoffs. If the season were to end today, the first round matchups in the East would be as follows: Raptors Heat, Celtics Cavs, and Wizards 76ers. I think I missed one in there. I'm sorry, it's the Sixers Pacers. Sorry, guys. We've got the Heat. Which of the potential matchups would you be most excited for, Jeremy? I hope you know them because I just ruined
Celtics, Bucks. Giannis against the Celtics probably could be the #1 team in the league, of course, yeah.
Yeah, Celtics and Bucks. Giannis against that Celtics D is going to be fun to watch.
Absolutely. All right, well, that was some great debate, guys, and I have to give definitely not the win to me after that performance, but I am going to give it to Jimmy Calhoun. Great work, though, Jeremy. Stay with us because after the break, Kyle Graham and Zach Winecki will compete to see who will take on Jimmy in the joust. Stay with us.
Today, when you have multiple devices at your fingertips, wouldn't it be great if you could run the software you need on all of them? Well, now you can. UCF Apps is a new and innovative way for you to access the applications that you need to get your coursework done from any PC, Mac, tablet, or smartphone. For more information or to give your input on UCF Apps, go to apps.ucf.edu. What are you waiting for? Start using UCF Apps today.
Do you like sports? Do you like reading about sports? Then we got a sports blog just for you. Stay on my peripherals. That's not fun. Hitting the field.
The first student-run sports blog.
For sports fans.
By sports fans.
See, it's all about the product shot.
Where do you want me to stand?
Don't talk though. I want them to see the whole.
Hitting the field. We cover football. We cover basketball. And so much more.
He's out. By sports reporters. And Meech.
What up? Watch the show and read the sports blog. Hitting
the field.
Today, when you have multiple devices at your fingertips, wouldn't it be great if you could run the software you need on all of them? Well, now you can. UCF Apps is a new and innovative way for you to access the applications that you need to get your coursework done from any PC, Mac, tablet, or smartphone. For more information or to give your input on UCF Apps, go to apps.ucf.edu. What are you waiting for? Start using UCF Apps today.
Welcome back to Hitting the Field. I am pleased to welcome on Zach Winecki and Kyle Graham to discuss opening weekend of Major League Baseball. Baseball's back, guys. I know we're all excited. All right, as I mentioned, it was opening weekend for Major League Baseball, so it's time for us to recklessly speculate everything we just saw, despite the incredibly minuscule sample size. So I ask you this, KG, what was the most impressive takeaway you had from opening weekend? Did anyone surprise you or perform up to already high expectations?
Well, I mean, it was a pretty good weekend for baseball, I think. There's a lot of interesting things that happened. I mean, Ian Happ hit a home run literally on the first pitch. But for me, my biggest takeaway is the Nationals and Adam Eaton. Ian, there was one game he went 5 for 5, and overall he was 8 for 13. And they missed his bat in the lineup last year because he tore his ACL. So now that they have him back, we're seeing how dangerous that team can be. So I'm really interested to see how the Nationals can do. Maybe they can get over that hump in the playoffs and actually make it to the second round.
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, last year, Adam Eaton had like a 854 OPS. So just having him on base, stealing bases is just important for the team.
Absolutely. Good offense.
My biggest takeaway is that the teams in Florida are not going to be as bad as we thought they were. I know on this show we did a segment saying how bad that the Rays and the Marlins are going to be. They didn't look that bad. The Rays took 1 from Boston and lost 3 games by 1 run. Boston has the highest payroll in the MLB. They're supposed to be the best team. And then the Marlins split with the Cubs, another one of the best teams in the league. So they're not going to be as bad as everyone thinks they are. And now it's going to look bad when they both lose 100 games. I'm going to look stupid. But right now, after 4 games,
it doesn't look
That's
bad
a
after
World
4.
Series matchup.
But
Exactly.
I think maybe the
win,
other
look really
teams
good.
might have slept on us Florida teams.
I don't sleep on my Rays.
You don't sleep on
I
your Rays.
knew
That's
they were
fair.
going to do this.
I'm pretty sure everyone else sleeps on them.
But it was
Especially the
it was definitely a good kickoff for baseball.
Oh, it was great, yeah.
It was
A lot,
of
of,
good
lot of
games.
offense, a lot
yeah.
of home runs. It was
mean-
fun to watch. I mean, that's what I'm here.
Offense is back.
I'm here
Absolutely.
for the pitching duels.
Yeah,
I'm here for
I
the
bet,
0-0
Zach.
17-inning games.
On the other side of the coin, we have the players and teams that limped out of the start gate this season. Since this question requires some good old-fashioned hating, I figured we'd start with you, Zach. Which player or team started off way weaker than they should have hoped for?
Well, I think by far it's the Giants. They made all those offseason acquisitions. They got Longoria, they got McCutchen, they got Austin Jackson, and those guys combined for, I think, 2 hits over the weekend, and they were only able to muster up 2 runs. I know you're facing Kershaw in one of the games, but they scored 2 runs, won 1-0, both from Joe Panik solo home runs, and then did not score the last 2 games of the series and lost by, I think, a combined score of 14-0. So for a team that spent all that time and all that money over the offseason, plus they lost Bumgarner, which hurts them, but for a team that spent all that money, they looked awful on offense.
Yeah, I agree. Kyle, how do you feel about the Giants?
I mean, Giants, I didn't really have that big of expectations with them
Fair
anyway.
enough. So they can't
but
let you down that hard.
without Mad Bum and Mark Melanson, they've done pretty well. But, just for my takeaway,
Yeah, who was your slowest team?
it's panic button season, of course. So,
Already?
Oh, yeah. It's 4 games. You have to. So I'm going to go with Aaron Judge. So, hot take. Sorry,
Okay.
Yankees fans.
It's not hot.
He's not to you, but he has 6 strikeouts already, so he's on pace for 318 strikeouts this year. So, not saying that it's going to happen, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think the combined strikeout total on that team is going to be higher than we've ever
it's
seen
gonna be
before.
crazy.
But that's what happens when you're swinging for the fences and hitting 450-yard bombs.
That's true.
So, well, we've seen all we've needed to see from the Major League Baseball season. With a whopping 2.5% of the season out of the way, I'm sure you're both experts on everything that's going to happen the rest of the way. So, let's start by hearing your MVP picks. Kyle, why don't you jump in first?
All right,
bud?
so not like Judge, I'm picking Stanton for the AL for MVP, and then I'm picking Harper for NL. The reason why I'm doing that, I saw Harper hit a home run yesterday after a fan heckled him, so right there, MVP. Got
Yeah, that was pretty savage.
just on that alone. And then, Stanton hit 2 home runs as well, and I just think the amount of players they have in that lineup that can get on base, they're going to crush a lot of RBIs. So it's going to help their stats so much.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, as much as I like your Harper pick for the NL because his Louis Vuitton Supreme cleats were clean,
They were.
but my
Those were
NL
awesome.
MVP, yeah, they were. But
Those
my
were
MVP
awesome.
is for the NL is going to be Caleb Smith, the number 2 pitcher for the Marlins.
Cannot
In
deny
his
that.
first game,
Yeah.
he only has 18 career innings, but his last game he went 5 innings, gave up 1 run to Chris Bryant, former MVP, which doesn't even count because it's former MVP,
Yeah,
and
sure.
8 strikeouts. And then for the AL, I have Mike Trout. He's just the best player in baseball.
man.
I don't even think it's hot for the AL, so
That's pretty hot, Mike Trout.
yeah. So he's best player in baseball. His team's gonna be a lot better this year. They're gonna go to the playoffs. So Mike Trout.
You heard it here first.
Caleb Smith, MVP.
Caleb Smith, MVP. Okay, so those were some individual awards, but as you both obviously know, baseball, it's a team game. That being said, after all we've seen this year, again, a full 2.5% of games, give me your locks for the World Series. Zach, we're going to start with you, buddy.
Locks. Rays versus Marlins. Like I said before, the Rays lost 3 one-run games to the Red Sox, one of the best teams in baseball. Marlins split with the Cubs, another best team in baseball. The Rays hitting's going to come around at some point. They're going to trade for Longoria again, and they're going to score more than 3 runs in a series.
They're going to trade back for
Yes, it's
Longoria.
going to happen.
Okay.
I'm Zach Stradamus here.
Zach Stradamus.
predicting the
Hopefully,
future.
Zach Stradamus won't be giving us these hot takes for the last 3 shows of the season.
Oh, they will.
Zach, I wish you would just take this question seriously.
Yeah,
it's
for real,
clearly
buddy.
it's the New York Mets versus the Athletics. Let's just be real here. The Athletics, they only won 1 game, but it was a walk-off, and guess who's on that team they won against? Mike Trout. So they got to go in the World Series based on that. They have Matt Chapman and Matt Olson on the corners. 2 Matts in the corners. That's World Series 10. And then you have Moneyball with Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill. That's all I got to say.
Moneyball.
Yeah.
So that's why they're going to win the
Moneyball
World
Part
Series.
2 is coming. You got
Okay.
2 Matts. They just found it somewhere on the street.
And
they're
they're
pretty good.
and they're already going to beat the reigning MVP in Mike
course.
Trout. So
Well, yeah, but
course.
well, actually, the Rays will.
oh,
Right, because the Rays pitching staff's
See,
going to
I
lock him
disagree.
up.
It's the A's. So they already beat the MVP once.
well, if either one of you guys is correct, I'll be
It's not
very
if,
impressed.
but it's-
I'll
I
take
mean,
you out to dinner. We'll put a little dinner wager on
we're
it.
profits.
We
back.
are,
All right,
exactly.
man. I'm excited for baseball season, and I'm glad it's finally here. And after hearing that debate, man, that was some of the worst hot takes I've ever heard from Zach. So
What?
I'm going to give the win to Kyle Graham because
Oh
he took
my
it slightly
God.
more seriously.
Are you serious?
Be sure to stay with us because after the break, we'll have Kyle Graham, Jimmy Calhoun going head-to-head in everybody's favorite segment, The Joust. Zach,
I want a retroactive win when raising Ron's
fair.
I thought Caleb Smith was a good pick,
We'll
though.
put one in the column for you. Stay with us, guys. Don't go away.
Unbelievable. The Rays versus Marlins.
Today, when you have multiple devices at your fingertips, wouldn't it be great if you could run the software you need on all of them? Well, now you can. UCF Apps is a new and innovative way for you to access the applications that you need to get your coursework done from any PC, Mac, tablet, or smartphone. For more information or to give your input on UCF Apps, go to apps.ucf.edu. What are you waiting for? Start using UCF Apps today.
Do you like sports? Do you like reading about sports? Then we got a sports blog just for you. Stay on my peripherals. That's not fun. Hitting the field.
The first student-run sports blog.
For sports fans.
By sports fans.
See, it's all about the product shot.
Where do you want me to stand?
Don't talk though. I want them to see the hole.
Hitting the field. We cover football. We cover basketball. And so much more.
He's out. By sports reporters and Meech.
What up? Watch the show and read the sports blog. Hitting
the field.
Today, when you have multiple devices at your fingertips, wouldn't it be great if you could run the software you need on all of them? Well, now you can. UCF Apps is a new and innovative way for you to access the applications that you need to get your coursework done from any PC, Mac, tablet, or smartphone. For more information or to give your input on UCF Apps, go to apps.ucf.edu. What are you waiting for? Start using UCF Apps today.
Thanks for sticking with us here on Hitting the Field. It's time for The Joust. My two competitors today are Kyle Graham and Jimmy Calhoun. So guys, let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
The NCAA basketball tournament comes to a close tonight with the championship matchup set. The Michigan Wolverines will be squaring off against the 2016 champions, the Villanova Wildcats. So guys, the table is set. Who wins tonight and why? Jimbo, start with you.
I got Villanova. I know that's the safe pick, but Villanova looked so good against Kansas, and their three-point shooting was unbelievable. I know Michigan's good at guarding the three-point line, but Villanova has a lineup where they have 5 players who can all shoot the three and then all take you off the dribble, and I think that eventually throughout the game will wear Michigan down, and they win a close one.
Kyle?
I also have Villanova, but I mean, I can say that I'm just really disappointed that we can't see another game of Sister Jean.
Yeah.
But it's
she
Nova.
was probably the highlight of the tournament.
Nova dominated the whole tournament. They won by like an 18-point margin.
I'm pretty sure no one's gotten them by 12. Yeah, they won all their games double digits.
Just the amount of depth they have is ridiculous. But I mean, I'm hoping it's a good game.
And they're all playing for each other too.
Exactly.
You know, they really. I saw some guy fall. Their point guard, I forget his name off the top of my head. He fell, and the entire team ran over to pick him up. Like that's just what you want to see out of a championship-driven squad.
If they lose on a buzzer beater, I wouldn't be too upset.
Yeah, team camaraderie.
That's fair.
Camaraderie.
If the men's championship is anything like last night's women's national championship game, we should be in for a real treat. Arike Ogunbowale delivered back-to-back buzzer beaters in the Final Four, shocking UConn to advance to the title game, where she capped an incredible comeback with another ice-cold buzzer beater to beat Mississippi State. It was insane.
Yeah.
Guys, what are your thoughts on how this title game ended? Kyle,
First of all, that's an amazing name. 10 out of 10. And just, you seen the tweets with Kobe and just the Kobe mentality saying that she needs to finish it. And then she finished the game with a buzzer beater in the national championship.
It's incredible.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm going to admit, I don't watch that much of women's basketball, but by far that Final Four
You shouldn't admit that because I'm a huge fan.
Oh, man. That Final Four is one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I loved her responding to Kobe and then her actually ending the national championship game on a buzzer beater. And you got to say this, the women's Final Four is better than the men's Final Four so far.
I agree. And like without a doubt, I'm most shocked that I could pronounce her name. And
No, 10 out of 10
that was
on
impressive.
Thank you guys. So let's wrap it up with a pair of quick NFL questions. First up, do you believe the Giants will trade star wide receiver out Odell Beckham Jr. before the season starts? And if so, to whom, Jim?
I believe they will. The reports are serious that they're going to trade him before draft night. I got him going to the Rams.
The Rams. You think that makes them a serious contender?
Yeah, I think so, and the Rams want him.
I don't think he's going to get traded. I mean, they're asking for too much, 2 first-round picks, and Odell has said that he's not going to play until they have a new contract on the field. So unless, I mean, I could see maybe the Buccaneers just doing it just because they just make terrible decisions.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we'll give like 5 first-round
I'd like
picks.
to see him. I'm sorry,
That'd be
Nick, I'd
nasty
like
with
to
the
see him
Browns, though.
anywhere but the Giants. So, finally, the Rams signed Ndamukong Suh, formerly of my Miami Dolphins. How scary are the Rams as a legit Super Bowl contender now? Jim, we're going to start with you because I already asked you, but go ahead.
The NFC is loaded, but I think the Rams are a real Super Bowl contender. Their defensive line is probably the best in the league now. This is the first time 2 first-team All-Pro defensive tackles have been on the same team.
Yeah, so it's pretty scary.
Yep.
That is scary. But you know what's more scary? Did you see that video of Aaron Donald like doing drills with somebody holding knives?
Terrifying.
That's how you become the best defensive
you
tackle
have
in football.
Sue, who's just, I mean, he's just a scary player itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, Donald,
Sue
it's
probably
not fair.
Sue probably uses knives during games.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, no, I think the Rams are serious business.
Oh, yeah.
And if Jared Goff plays the way he played last year, I
They
think
want to
with
win
Gurley,
it. They
too.
want to win it all while
Yeah,
Jared
exactly.
They want to win it all while Jared Goff's on his rookie contract, so they can pay all the other positions
figure-
and then wait to pay.
they can figure it out after. All right, guys. Well, after that debate, I have to give today's hard-earned win to Jimmy Calhoun. Congratulations, Kyle.
Was it the first round, maybe?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But it was a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. Be sure to check out Jimmy's Night Vision on Twitter after the show. That's it for Hitting the Field today. Please stay tuned for the next couple episodes because there's only 2 episodes left in the semester. So we'll love to see you all next week. Take care, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Rumor, and I think it seems like the showrunner